Well, hello lovely humans and welcome back to my channel. So last week we missed an upload. I say we, it's the royal we, I missed an upload. For those of you who don't know, I am located in Waco, which is Central Texas, and if you didn't see on the news, we had a massive freak snowstorm and we were out of power for quite a long time. So I literally couldn't upload. In fact, we just got internet back like a day ago. And we had a situation a few days before the snowstorm hit where there were really icy road conditions and my husband got into a car accident. I slammed into him. He's fine. He's totally fine. My car, however, is not. So it's just been a long year this week. So I apologize for not being able to upload something last week, but I know you guys are gonna understand because like I didn't have power and like literally lots of places in Texas also did not have power. So even if I could record something like by a window with light, there was no way to upload it. So here we are. In this week's video, we are gonna do a Q&A. And a lot of times for me, in my mind, like a Q&A is like hitting the easy button. You know what I mean? It's just like, just go to Instagram, ask the people what they wanna know, and then tell them, reply in a video, you know? And that's what I'm doing this week because I'm gonna be totally honest, I am done. Just like emotionally, it's been, it's been long. But I am happy to report that we are just fine. We managed just fine. We didn't have any pipes burst in our home. Other than what happened with my car, like the family, we're all in good health. We are safe. We have plenty of food and plenty of clean water. So thank you for all of those who did reach out and express concern, and we're trying to figure out what's going on, and we're good. We are A-okay, and it's like high 60s, low 70s out. So like this is the Texas that we're used to. So I jumped onto Instagram over at JW Coordination. If you're not following us there, please be sure to do so. That's a great way for me to easily and quickly communicate with everyone. I know there's obviously the community tab here, but I'm able to interact a lot more over on our Instagram. So went over there and said, what questions do you have? Let's do this, all right? You know, like let's just help me out. So without further ado, let's just jump right on into it. The very first question we got was from Noreen Patel, and she said, multicultural / biracial weddings, tips on how to incorporate both cultures. This is a fantastic question. So one, you can always have two different events, like if budget allows, or if your cultures are two completely different aspects and you want to honor each of those individually, you can always do two different events. I know that happens not all the time, but it happens often enough to be quite normal. Another thing that you can do is sit down with your spouse-to-be, sit down with your honey, and write down all of the things culturally that you two typically see done in your culture's weddings. And then from there, you can kind of pick and choose which ones you find to be the most important. So perhaps there's a traditional cultural attire that is worn. You can do that for your ceremony and then switch into different clothes for your reception. You do have that option. You can also incorporate cultural elements into your ceremony, taking bits and pieces of each of your sides and putting them together in a beautiful and lovely way. So I do think like the best thing that you can do is just sit down, come up with a list, and then pick and choose the ones that feel the most important or that you feel like would be most honoring of who you are and where you've come from. Oh, Brigitte! Okay, so she was in our Lovely Humans Club. If you guys don't know, I have a monthly phone call with some of the viewers from here where I in live time answer some of their questions to help them kind of plan this whole crazy thing. We will of course link that down below if you guys are interested in checking that out. This club is so awesome. We have our own Facebook group, like with such a tight, close-knit community, and we all help each other get to the finish line as successfully as possible. Because sometimes it takes a village, you know? Brigitte said, best advice for people who can't stop obsessing over the things that went wrong on their wedding day. So for those of you who are planning, like, take heart, okay? It is a good thing to remember that something will likely go wrong. And I'm sure Brigitte did this too. That doesn't mean, of course, that she isn't allowed to mourn the things that went incorrectly, but if we can prepare ourselves and know that something will go wrong, it does help us to prepare mentally a little bit more when it does happen. Now, I personally, you guys have seen the video, I regretted quite a few things. I wouldn't say a lot, but quite a few things after my wedding day, and it took me a long time to get over them. Some people, it may not be a problem. If you feel like, it's fine, it's over, it's not a big deal, then this commentary obviously isn't for you. But if you are like me and those things kind of stick around with you for a really long time, the best way that I found to get over those things, to move past those things, because we dream of this day for so long and we work so hard to make it happen and we spend so much money on it that when it isn't successful or our version of successful that we've seen in our minds, it's okay to mourn that a little bit. The best thing that you can do though, that I've recommended my clients do and I've done myself, is focus on the things that went successfully. What went well? I mean, at the end of the day, you married the love of your life. Like that is successful. We got through the day. Because the last 4 to 6 weeks, I call it like the why didn't we elope period. So once you make it to that point and you get through the day, celebrate the successful areas. Celebrate who you got to see on your wedding day. Celebrate the good food, the fact that you were on the dance floor, your amazing attire, whatever you wear for your wedding day. Be excited about the things that went well. And give yourself time and space and grace to mourn the things that didn't. And after time, you will feel better about it. You totally will. It's just, sometimes it takes a little bit of time to grieve and process through that. Samantha Facepalmer asked, any suggestions for wholesale/bulk fake florals? Probably can't afford a florist. So we have this incredible tool. It's a floral quiz to kind of help you figure out what you should be doing with your flowers, whether you should DIY or you should go with a professional. We have this whole big quiz, that'll be down below. When it comes to, I don't have a source for bulk fake flowers, but bulk real flowers, 50 flowers is bomb.com. 100% way to go. You'll also find them linked down below. That's most likely an affiliate link. We love working with 50 flowers. I've used them for styled shoots. I've recommended them to several of my clients and they've all been so successful. So if you're looking to get flowers in bulk, that is a great resource for you. When it comes to faux florals, oftentimes it can be better to actually rent them. I know we've talked with Something Borrowed Blooms, or you can do something like Sola wood flowers. Another amazing option for fake florals. All of those we will leave linked down below, most likely all affiliate links. It helps me as a creator continue to do what I do and give you all the free advice. Yeah. Sab McFall? Why did I decide to read the usernames this time? I'm so sorry. How did the replacement engagement ring story end? Yeah, I lost my engagement ring gardening a couple weeks ago and I'm really sad about it. I do have a replacement on my finger right now. It may be a video coming out later. So no, have not found my engagement ring. Hope to find it soon. We bought a metal detector and everything, but we've got like 3 acres. So it could be anywhere, especially after the snowstorm. Great. Jay Mend asked, what is a polite way to uninvite guests due to COVID guidelines? This is... luckily, in this particular circumstance, it's so much more common right now, so it really does relieve some of that pressure. And you can just say, due to current guidelines and restrictions in our area, county, city, state, whatever it happens to be, we are no longer able to have the full wedding that we had hoped to have. So we regret to share with you that we will be downsizing, but hope to have an opportunity to celebrate with you in the near future. Nice, polite, puts the blame and the onus on someone else so you feel less guilty. Not that you have to blame anybody, but it removes the emotion for it being your fault or your decision. And then you follow up with but I'd love to party with you, when it's appropriate. Is it too early to start planning if I'm not engaged yet, but going to be soon? So one thing that you can do is really spend your time investigating. No, it doesn't, which is the first part of planning anyways. It does not hurt to start with just investigating and get planning going. I've definitely worked with clients who are technically there's no ring on their finger yet, but they start the planning process ahead of time because they know it's going to happen. So I would say start with your priorities, then figure out your budget, and then start doing research on vendors and venues, because the more time you spend researching, the better equipped you are to make successful financial decisions and pick the vendors and or venue that is going to be so perfect for your wedding day. So it's not too early to start investigating, jump on Pinterest, play around with things, but definitely make sure you lock in your priorities and your budget. Carrie Ann Sarity said, what's your favorite flower to see in a centerpiece? Oh gosh, I love flowers. Like, flowers might be one of my favorite parts of a wedding day. They're just, I know real flowers aren't for everybody. I totally get it, but oh, they're so good. Okay, this is super basic, but one of our favorite florists, Sassafras Florals, she also actually works with us at JW Coordination. She uses Queen Anne's lace as a replacement for baby's breath, and I think it's just like the upgrade of going from baby's breath to Queen Anne's lace is so delicious. It's so good. 10 out of 10 recommend. I don't think, expense-wise it's probably a little bit more, but it just adds a completely different texture. So I know it's like a basic filler flower, but Queen Anne's lace is delightful. I also really love dahlias, especially if they're large enough. They have a large enough circumference, because then they take up a lot of real estate, which means you don't have to use as many flowers, so you may pay more for that stem, but it fills in more space, which is awesome. Other than that, I'm probably just a sucker for greenery, mostly not eucalyptus. I like eucalyptus, it's fine, but I like dark green, like magnolia. Ooh, wait. Magnolia leaves. With that dark, rich, huntery green and then the gold color in the back. That's my favorite. I take all the other ones back. Magnolia leaves are my favorite. in any sort of floral display for a wedding. Ooh, okay. Lil Ash W2 asked, what's the most Bridezilla request you've received? I think this is important to just kind of say from the get-go. I have never had a Bridezilla. I have just been a poor communicator of my boundaries. So anytime that someone asked something that seemed ridiculous, it's because I didn't communicate that that is not my responsibility ahead of time. I've never had a bride stomp her feet. I've never had a couple act spoiled or like none of the typical things that you think of when you think Bridezilla. It's just it was in my early days when I didn't communicate clear boundaries. So that's probably the best way of phrasing that. I will say I had a client ask me to do a split shift, which means they wanted me to come for a certain amount of hours and then leave and then come back later. I was also 4 months pregnant. We were 4 hours away from home. I had gotten a hotel room because again, I didn't have boundaries, out of my own pocket, so I didn't charge them for that. And we had to check out before their event even started. So they basically wanted me to come and be there for a few hours and then leave and not have anywhere to go, like go hang out at a Starbucks or something, and then come back and finish out the event. So that was the most, and even that's not really that bizarre of a request, they just didn't know. I probably have more if I thought about it. Usually it's people, like not my clients directly. It's parents who don't know my services. It's family members who think they're being helpful by asking me to handle something, but like that's not my job or my responsibility. So it's just a matter of clear communication. So I've never had a Zilla of any sort. Maybe a few, okay, maybe a few momzillas. but never my clients directly. And once I got better at communicating my boundaries, my clients respected those so well that they didn't really ask anything above or beyond that. We really, I'm very blessed to have found excellent teammates in all of my clients since I started learning how to communicate my yeses and my nos much more effectively. Foy Tech asked, should I do some of my own flower arrangements and have florists do the important stuff? Okay. It depends. You'd have to find the right florist that would be willing to do this. Some, totally fine with it. Others are like, I don't know. Because, like, obviously your skill set is not gonna be the same as your florist. It's gonna be different. Your florist does this for a living, you don't. So if your florals and your florist's florals are photographed and he or she is tagged as the florist for that wedding, but they're your florals and they're not up to their standard or their level of artistry or their style or their design, they may not want to be attached to your design. It may not bother them, but it's definitely something to ask or let them know, hey, can you do the personals, boutonnieres, bouquets, and then we do the centerpieces. Your florist may even be willing to order them wholesale for you and get a discounted cost, but you do need to have that conversation because some florists, with good reason, are protective over their artistry, protective over their work. And sometimes if they have no control over how you are designing your florals and then they get tagged in that, that's not how they want their brand represented. So it's a very viable option. You have to find the right florist that agrees to it, but it also could be a huge money saver. Okay, this is a great one. I'm not gonna try to pronounce this username. I'm so sorry. You're cute, but I would butcher this. How to give numbers when COVID restrictions may be different later this year. So I would plan with hope, but maintain perspective. If you're not sure if you can have 20 people or 75 people, plan for 75. Just plan for 75. Make sure you read your contracts very carefully so you know kind of what you're getting into. Some caterers have some sort of minimum, or if you book at this rate, then you're stuck at that rate. Read your contracts because they're all going to be very different in this respect. But like with a rental company, if you're not quite sure if you're gonna have 50 or 150, book 150 because you can trim away at the last minute. The biggest unknown, and the reason I can't give you a super firm response here, is because you have to know your contracts. And I know I sound so obnoxious about this, and I talk about it all the time, but you have to know your contracts. I can't speak for it because sometimes vendors will put like a random clause in there and I'm like, what is that? That's not normal. Now, of course, you won't know what I know, like what's considered normal. But if you do see something that kind of stands out to you or helps you to realize, oh gosh, if I book at this rate, then I'm stuck at this rate, go from there, okay? Any ideas for bachelorette parties that don't include clubbing / drinking a ton? Absolutely. Miniature golf, movies. of course, like when this stuff is open. Airbnb, have a massive sleepover. Like order pizza, have a movie night, paint your nails, have an in-home spa day where you get face masks and everyone wears fun pajamas. Have a costume party. There's so many things that you can do that don't involve drinking or going out because that's not everybody's style. So I would say find something that almost seriously feels a little bit like something you would do in junior high or high school, but now do it again as an adult with all of your adult friends. It is hysterical. Laser tag, go to an arcade, go wine tasting. Oh, wine tasting's awesome. And you don't have to be drinking a lot there. Think of things, and obviously, obviously in middle school and high school, you would not be going wine tasting. That's just an additional option I'm tossing in on top of that suggestion. Oh gosh. And then I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up with this one. What is your favorite part of the wedding process with your clients after the wedding? Two things. One, getting their gallery back, because it gives me the opportunity to relive that day over again with them. And two, I love sharing galleries on our Instagram. Like I love sharing wedding photos of like, look at this gorgeous, look at these beautiful faces. Like it's like an official version of what we went through together, and now it's in photo form and I just get to share it. That means so much to me. I absolutely love it. And then secondly is when I receive reviews. And I know that sounds a little bit selfish, but it's an affirmation that we are doing things correctly and that they felt heard, loved, seen, and taken care of. That is, our job is done. Like we have done our job to the best of our abilities and they felt good leaving the event. That is, oh, I just love it. I love it so very much and it means the world to me. Most of the reviews make me cry. I'm such a sap. So that's all we have for this week's video, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thanks for flexing with me last week. Thank you for those of you who submitted your questions. Sorry I couldn't get to all of them and there were so many. You guys have great questions in here. Hopefully some of these things are helpful for you. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel because obviously most of the time I'm putting out a video a week to help you plan your wedding as successfully as possible, friend, because it's stressful and it's a weird world out there right now. But together, I know that we can get through this. If you need additional support and or guidance, there's a whole slew of links down below of all of our different online services that we have, from the phone calls to the wedding planning online course, everything that you need to plan your wedding masterfully. It's all gonna be down there. And until next week, bye guys.